Bring on the Cyclones.
Welcome on into the AZ Wildcats post-game show, live from Studio K, presented by our friends over at Circle K. And it's good to be home, Kevin, in our studio, the house that the AZ Wildcats podcast built. I am your host, Damon Fairall. That's my co-host, Kevin Thomas. And we are talking Arizona Wildcats basketball after winning their first conference tournament game here against UCF by a score of 81-59. The Cats moving on to the semifinals to face Iowa State and the Cyclones. But of course, before we get into it, we are presented by our presenting sponsor of Branded Bills. Head on over to brandedbills.com. Use promo code BBPHNX and get 15% off your first order with the best Arizona Wildcats headwear in the game. Kevin, another victory. The Cats are rolling. Things feel good. Wire to wire win in this one as Arizona gets off to a very, very hot start and manages to sustain that lead for the entirety of the game. I believe UCF got it to as close as about 11 at certain points in that second half. But ultimately, Arizona always found a way to respond, to maintain that double-digit lead, and to keep this one fairly out of reach for the Knights and UCF. So how are we feeling after this win? And how are we feeling about this team's Big 12 tournament chances after just one game through?
Feeling great. I think that, the way that they came out in that first half, I tweeted that they were in business mode. It felt like they were completely locked in. It felt like a team that was fully rested and ready to compete to start this game. And I think that you saw that throughout. Now, obviously, there was some ups and downs in this game, but throughout you completely controlled both the tempo of the game and the result of the game. You knew UCF was going to continue to punch. We talked about that on the pregame show, but those punches ended up being futile. Arizona just simply too good. This was my reaction to our halftime graphic, Damon, but Iowa State, to a lesser extent, even though their point differential right now in the Big 12 tournament is plus 71. But Iowa State and Arizona really showing that there are levels to this conference, and that while we can talk about how the Big 12 is the best conference, right? Even within the best conference, there are levels, and Arizona is levels above UCF. UCF, all due respect to them, right? They tried today, and they're very talented, but not nearly as talented as Arizona, and especially in that front court. Oh my goodness, barbecue chicken, Damon, all night. I do want to extend some well wishes to John Bull, because that was incredibly scary. Speaking of front court things, UCF center John Bull exits the game earlier into it before he exited the final time, and they were saying on the broadcast that he was having trouble catching his breath and he was complaining about chest pain. They sent his ass back into the game later to face Tobe Awaka, of all people, and it was not great for John Bull. So I hope that he ends up okay. That looked very scary. But yeah, Damon, overall, my thoughts on this game: Arizona in business mode for March, not only the Big 12 tournament, but March Madness, the NCAA tournament. What are some of your takeaways initially from this game?
Yeah, first off, agreed. Thoughts with John Bull. Obviously, very scary situation. We hope that everything is all right in that regard. But I hate to come away from a game in a blowout like this with a negative, Kevin. But I got to say, the number one thing that I'm thinking of right now is free throws. Free throws, free throws, free throws. And Arizona, obviously, not the best free throw shooting night tonight. 17 of 31 is what they finish, which is 55%, but you're hovering around that 50% mark all game long, and it's not until the end that you get it into like the mid 50%, because this team was basically splitting its free throws all night long, and it feels like that's the type of thing that can hurt you in maybe the more, I want to say splitting hairs games that you get later on in this, postseason, which is you're going to play against some of the elite teams in college basketball. And when you do so, you have to take advantage of those free throws, because Arizona is a free throw shooting team. They gather a lot of free throws. They garner a ton of free throws every game because of how much of a paint presence Arizona plays with, how much how Tobe Awaka, Mo Krivas, and Koa Peat are not afraid to be physical and go straight at guys and force refs to call fouls. It's the style of play that they're going to continue to play, so you have to take advantage of those free throws in the meantime, especially when you're not going to be shooting a ton from the outside, which we know this team is not the highest three-point volume shooting team in the world. So I feel like you got to have a better free throw shooting performance than that if you're going to want to take down teams like Iowa State, teams like a Houston potentially in the Big 12 championship game and then beyond in March Madness as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you get those Long Island Sharks, you're going to have to hit your free throws, Damon. No, I kid. But no, you're right. I think, for any other team, I think this would be less of a – I'm not going to say concern because I'm not really personally that concerned. I think they have shown that when fans, analysts come out and be like, they got to be better about free throws, right? Usually I feel like this team shows that, we can actually hit free throws. But you do have to be consistent about it in this time of year. I'm not going to say it was a nothing, right, that they did not shoot well today from the free throw line. It's definitely not a good thing. To your point, when you play as good as Arizona does down low and your game is to draw as many fouls as they want to draw, you got to reward yourself when you make it to the free throw line because that's how you kill teams. Arizona can beat a lot of teams up, but they're going to go get doctored up, put the bandages on, and they're going to live to fight another day. The only way you kill teams if you're Arizona, not the only way, but the best way to kill teams if you're Arizona, rebound the hell out of the ball, get to the free throw line, and make them pay there. Like Saul says in the chat, I'm not worried about long-term their free throw stuff. I think they will hit their free throws as things continue to go on.
The issue, though, Kevin, is what you mentioned, which is the consistency. I don't doubt this team's ability to have a response, which, I think that they very much will. And I feel like, as you said, they continue to kind of, consistently show that response all season long when it feels like, they're getting called out by the fan base. And, not to say that we're sitting up here being like, this team it's just where my mind went to when you asked me what my thoughts on this game were. I do have to say, though, that it only takes one game like that.
Correct.
So, to kind of hammer home your point, the inconsistency is the issue because as Ernesto puts, you go in the Sweet 16, it's lights out, right? You play an Elite 8 team and, you miss 14 free throws. You could lose by 3, and you're kicking yourself all offseason thinking about, man, did we just leave that game on the board right there? I do feel like that this is a situation where it really only takes one poor performance from the free throw line, and you could be going home. So that's where it's I'm just a little I think I'm just a little bit more on edge about it than maybe you or Saul might be.
I will say me and Saul are of one brain when it comes to this topic because my olive branch, my extension to you of hey, Damon, a little calma. I'm not saying you're freaking out, but I'm just trying to say that I do have a thing that might make you feel a little bit better. I think this Arizona team, and maybe this makes you feel worse, they have a propensity to play up to their opponents, right? I think past teams, they play a lot more down to their opponents as well. I think this Arizona team, we saw it with UCF, when you're beating the hell out of a team for 30 minutes, you're going to have some moments in that game where you're a little bit looser than you need to be. Human nature is human nature. But I think as the moments get bigger, no matter the opponent, Arizona will play up to the moment. And I think that is where you should take some solace in thinking, you know what, rough free throw shooting today, that cannot happen against, a team that is small margins of victory you're against. But I do have faith that Arizona in the big moments is not going to let that end their season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. And as 3DMK puts here in the chat, I do think, it bears noting 57% against Kansas on the road against Kansas. And Arizona's other loss that they played against Texas Tech, 74%, which is obviously a pretty solid percentage. You miss 8 free throws, though, in that game, and you lose by 3 in OT. I don't think that necessarily this team is terrible at free throws all the time, like maybe some Arizona fans might feel, but as I keep saying, it really only takes one poor performance where you shoot 50% and you're packing it up and going home, and that doesn't tell the full story of what this team season has been, and that's really what it culminates to for me is it's such a cutting nets down or bust type of year. And these are the things that rear their ugly head in March, where you're like, it keeps great teams from, reaching the level of success that they need to get to or want to get to. But let's talk about some more positives of this game. And it felt like one of those positives, Kevin, for me at least, was the interior dominance or big man dominance in particular from Mo Krivas and Tobe Awaka, who every time I was looking at the screen, it felt like they were gathering a rebound if there was one to collect. So what did you see from Arizona's center tandem tonight? And can they ride this kind of interior dominance all the way to a Big 12 championship here?
I certainly hope so, Damon. I know that, we do our John Rothstein impression, or I guess I do my John Rothstein impression, where we talk about, I went to Arizona practice and head coach Tommy Lloyd stopped the practice when they were not working the ball down into the paint to big Lithuanian Mo Krivas. But that's true, right? Like Tommy Lloyd, since day one with this team, has said, hey, we are not succeeding if we're not getting paint touches. I don't give a damn if Brayden Burries hits a tween three. A good possession for Arizona starts with 2 feet in the paint. Let's see what happens after that. And I think they did a great job of that in this game. From possession one, Damon. No, I guess not possession one technically, but who got the first bucket in this game? Mo Krivas got the first touch, at least with a layup. We were talking about that on the pregame show. And it was clear that the modus operandi for this game was use your physical advantages, wear down UCF. They cannot hang with you on the interior. And I think that showed in this game. Mo Krivas, for as much as I still think he could probably do better at being more decisive under the rim, just understanding like, all right, I just got to go up and try to dunk this ball. I'm either going to get fouled or I'm going to get 2 points, right? And maybe that's just not his mentality. Like maybe that's just not his way he processes the game. But I do think he can be such a monster. Like when he has his mind set on getting a rebound and putting it back up, we saw that play that got replayed a couple times. I posted it to my Twitter. Like he jumps in, leaps in, right? Fights around the guy trying to box him out, gets the rebound, grabs it, no thought or deliberation, throws it back up, and one. We're heading to the free throw line. 3 points for Arizona. I think he made the free throw following that. So I loved what I saw from Mo Krivas, albeit against a little bit of an undersized competition. But he did his job. And you mentioned Tobe Awaka. Oh, my goodness. On the pregame show, I said Mo Krivas might have, what did I say, like 12 and 11 or 15 and 12 in this game?
Yeah, you were high on Mo Krivas in the pregame show.
He had 10 and 9, but I should have been higher on Tobe Awaka because he had 12 and 12 in this one, 4 offensive rebounds. Shout out to Krivas, who had 7 offensive rebounds. It's going to be tough. Like if you are, we talk about like how Arizona gets upset by these teams and how Arizona chokes in March. And like you hear it in the chat, you hear it on Twitter, you hear it everywhere. But Arizona, to my knowledge, I don't know when the last time they had a front court duo like this, right? Where they can dictate the course of a game and really make sure an opposing team has trouble making a run when you combine it with the perimeter defense that your guards and wings offer. This front court, they're having a ball, man. Like they get to hoop, they get to defend at a high level, and they get to rebound the hell out of the ball and get it to some of the best guards in the country going the other way. Tobe Awaka in this game, he was in Oregon mode, Damon. There was nothing that UCF's front court could have done to get Tobe Awaka off the glass in this one. We talked about it on the pregame. If Arizona was going to dominate this game like they did today, it was going to be because UCF could not get a defensive rebound or an offensive rebound, right? And I think that you saw that today. The rebound discrepancy, we'll get to it later with our by the numbers, but last time these two teams played, it was 37 for Arizona total rebounds, 36 for UCF. Today, 44 for Arizona, 36 again for UCF. So no improvement from UCF. In fact, the exact same rebounding performance, and Arizona widens the gap between the two. So I saw dominance, Damon, with room for growth. Obviously, it wasn't perfect, but very strong performance from the front court today. What did you see?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, like just every rebound available, it felt like these two guys were pulling it down. And you're right about Mo Krivas. I agree with your point about like there are times where maybe his spatial awareness around the basket still needs a little bit of improvement. And I feel like he's improved tenfold in that regard this season. Like that is a continuous process. And obviously like development is not like in 2K where you spend your VC and now all of a sudden he's good at that skill set. Like it's a more of a curve, right? And so that will continue to get better and better, I'm sure. But in general, like, I did think that the aggressiveness was there. And yeah, it felt like, this was playing into Arizona's hands of just, constant rebounding, from Arizona's front court. And yeah, Krivas a point away from getting a double-double to match Tobe Awaka's double-double. Almost both big men getting in the double figures of both of them did get in the double figures of rebounds, but almost both in the double figures of points as well. Incredibly impressive stuff. I thought Mo Krivas' defense was fantastic as well. There were, plenty of possessions. I'm remembering one where he kind of went off of his guy and intercepted a pass from a driving guard who was trying to kick back out, and he realized that he was going to send that pass flying. So he rotated around and got in front of it, stuck a hand out. Arizona got a steal out of that. Like, I just think that, this guy has been so incredibly elite on the defensive side of the basketball in particular, Kevin, that, just special stuff from Arizona's front court tonight. And even Koa Peat, I thought he had a pretty solid game as well. I mean, I know it's not going to jump off the box score at you. 12 points, 5 of 13 shooting, 4 boards. Pretty typical Koa Peat performance, I feel like, as what we've seen for quite some time now. But how did you feel that Arizona's star freshman and Koa Peat played before we talk about the maybe more of the coup de grace of the class in Brayden Burries?
Yeah, no, I thought Koa Peat was really strong today. I thought he did a good job.
No disrespect.
I mean, no disrespect at all, but Brayden Burries is playing like out of his mind. I mean, maybe not out of his mind. It might just be who Brayden Burries is. We know that's who he is. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he's playing like a man possessed. Koa Peat, I thought, was really strong today. I think he looked the healthiest we've seen Koa Peat look like in a while. Like, obviously, you return to the court, but I think that anyone that has followed the sport for a while know that first game back, like, you're still getting your game legs back under you. You got to get back into some real conditioning. We saw it with Dwayne Aristode, like he was going to the gym all the time before he was getting, ramped back up to get the conditioning where it needed to be. I feel like Koa Peat's back at full 100%. Now today, obviously, like you said, 5 of 13 from the field, not like ideal, but Koa Peat is not a box score player, really. I know that sounds like an excuse for Koa Peat, but it's not. Like, his impact is so much larger than his field goal percentage or his bag or how many dribbles he completed. Like, Koa Peat's impact is a lot larger than that. We saw it when he was out, right? I know Arizona won those games, but the doubles that were sent at Krivas that usually get sent to Koa Peat's a lot better at processing those double teams than Mo Krivas is. So I think he did a good job today of playing his role. He puts up 12 points today. I still, would love to see him cut down on some of those turnovers, 4 turnovers today. But yeah, like I said, when you're kind of doing the offensive hub thing, but you're not really a guard, you're going to have some of those. So, overall from Koa Peat, pretty solid game today, and hope he continues to build momentum throughout the rest of the tournament.
I saw some people tweeting about kind of his playmaking chops, and I do think that, as you say, Kevin, like, it's not entirely just a box score thing with Koa Peat. Like, obviously, Koa Peat brings it on the defensive side of the floor. He has great play strength. He's extremely athletic. He shifts laterally very quickly. And so I think that his impact defensively is essentially always positive. His impact on the offensive end can be a little bit more hit or miss, but he always is a lob threat. And that's something that the defense has to account for at all times is this guy cutting to the basket? Because if he is, it's an automatic 2 points with a decent pass, as we saw Jaden Bradley throw in the later stages of this game tonight. So, I think that he provides that lob threat, and he also provides that secondary playmaking ability, as you mentioned. Like, he can dribble, drive, kick out. Like, he's, despite being a power forward, that is something that is in his bag, despite what maybe Twitter people or TikTok folks will tell you about his lack of perceived bag. Like,
KP no J.
Yeah, and I feel like, and that's fair. Like, he obviously, it struggles from a jump shooting perspective, but I do think that qualifies as quote unquote bag. No, the ability for a power forward to put the ball on the floor and kind of self create to an extent. Like, I know it's not NBA level, but it's good enough for college creation. So yeah, I mean, I think Koa Peat played himself a decent game, but obviously you want to see him, kind of take it up a notch in some of these games as well. But also, like, Arizona's just so balanced that, we as we've talked about all season, not everyone is going to be able to put up the amount of points that makes you feel warm and fuzzy when you go to bed at night, right? Like, there's definitely going to be some people that have to take a little bit more of a back seat to allow a Brayden Burries to have 20 plus, to allow Mo Krivas and Tobe Awaka both to get double-doubles and shoot as many free throws as they did. So I wasn't, discouraged by Koa Peat's performance tonight, but I do want to talk more about Brayden Burries in that performance tonight. Kevin, should we do that, or should we hit this first ad break here on the AZ Wildcats pod?
Let's hit our first ad break, and then we're going to get all into Brayden Burries because I know we got a lot to say about the young stud himself. So let's get our first ad break. Leave a like, stick around, definitely drink your water, and do not go anywhere. Because I got to tell you about our friends. No, Damon, I lied. Our family over at Circle K. Because Circle K, Damon, they're there for me every time I need them. Genuinely every time I need them, Damon. They day, night, mid-afternoon, 2 a.m. Circle K is always there for me. They have the beer cave. They do. And it's my favorite place to refill my beer fridge at home because they have a wide assortment of things. And it's not just alcohol at Circle K. They have snacks. They have roller items that are delicious. And they have deals on gas, a very, very huge commodity. Circle K is giving discounts on. And if you join the Inner Circle, you get 25 cents off on your first 5 fill-ups, 3 cents off on every fill-up after that until you graduate into the 5 cents off per gallon class. And right now, they have some general deals going on where you can buy 2, get 1 free Monster 16-ounce featuring Circle K exclusive Ultra Punk Punch. We're talking exclusive flavors of Monster. I know we got some energy drink fiends in the chat. Erica Day. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions do apply only at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details.
Kevin, I apologize. I often don't pay attention to the things that you say, but if you didn't mention it, it is a Circle K Inner Circle Fuel Day today, and I gassed up my vehicle. And in a time like this, and when I say a time like this, I mean with these insane gas prices, take advantage of those Inner Circle Rewards Fuel Days. They're few and far between, but we also have something else to look forward to on the horizon here, and that is the World Cup, Kevin. The World Cup is going to be coming to America, Mexico, and Canada this summer, and it is going to be perhaps the biggest World Cup in existence. The 2026 World Cup is here, and it is time to party with our friends at Casamigos and their ready-to-go made margs that they are just debuting around this time. Say cheers with Casamigos margaritas. Pair your World Cup watch party food with delicious new ready-to-enjoy Casamigos margaritas in 2 flavors, classic lime and spicy, with just 110 calories per serving, made with real lime juice. Guys, if you haven't gotten in on the Casamigos wave yet, it is time. It is a new era of tequila here, and Clooney's taken over. Let me just say Clooney's taken over. George Clooney, of course, one of the owners and founders of Casamigos Tequila, friend of the program, as many of you know, and we just love ourselves some Casamigos. Shout out to Casamigos for sponsoring our Shots Fired pregame show segment as well. But yeah, Casamigos, guys, it's the only tequila I'm partying with during the World Cup, during March Madness as well. And these ready-to-go, pre-made margarita mixes are going to go so incredibly hard. Casamigos, the drink of the World Cup, whether you're at your favorite spot or stocking up for home, make it Casamigos. I might just declare it the official drink of March Madness as well, Kevin.
I mean, definitely a Damon Fairall special for sure. I was looking into some things, Damon. I saw some arguments going down on Twitter about the free throw stuff as well in my replies. And people are pulling up random one-off Duke games, and they're being like, well, Duke shot 47% from the line against Cal, and they won. So, yeah, I mean, I think this just is something that happens to teams from time to time. That does not make it any more enjoyable. It does not make it any more of a negative trait towards your team in that game. But these things happen to even the best of teams. But Arizona does have to clean that up moving forward. And talking about getting cleaned up, man. UCF's defense got cleaned up by Brayden Burries. That's a fact. He is for sure, I mean, undoubtedly king of the court. Brayden Burries, 21 points, 3 rebounds, 2 steals. The man was on fire today. I know White Burrito likes saying that he is the man on fire. Shout out to the GOAT right there.
The Human Torch.
Yeah, the Human Torch himself. But, Damon, what is there even to say further about this kid that should be a lottery lock come the summer and should be making a ton of money come next fall?
Me and Eric Ruby, NBA guy, if you're not familiar, does our Suns podcast. We were talking earlier, and yeah, Ruby's saying to me, Kevin, through watching him in the second half of that game, he's like, I think he might be a top 8 pick.
I think he is too.
And it's certainly trending in that direction. This dude is unreal. He has everything in his bag, the perimeter shooting ability, the top end athleticism. I think, from a mentality standpoint, you have to respect his ability to put his head down and grind through a little bit of a rough start, which, lasted about 5 games. And, it wasn't necessarily, I'm sure, the debut he expected. And then he just becomes the best player on this team, full stop, for, the final 25 games on the schedule here that we've seen. Like, Brayden Burries, it's tough. As you say, like, you run out of words to say about this guy, as we've been talking about him doing essentially this every game for quite some time now. But it feels that, when he gets going, like, he is the guy that kind of, lifts everybody else up with him. I think Lost Highway here in the chat compare him to Clemson game Jaden Bradley, where it just feels like when Arizona hits a little bit of a lull, when UCF's going on a bit of a run, you just give the ball to Jaden Bradley and you get the hell out of his way and let him just, go crazy. Go crazy, BB.
Go crazy, B5. Everybody put the 5s up. Put a 5 up, Damon. Yeah, B5. Shout out B5. Brayden Burries, Rocky Rodri in the chat says, is Burries adding game closer to his resume this last part of the season? And I think the answer is yes. Like, I'm not going to say that he is like, I'm not going to say he snatched Jaden Bradley's closer nickname. Like, I don't think this team has a designated closer anymore, because Bradley can do it. We know that. Now Burries can. Yeah. And we know that. And I think that that's very interesting, and it's a very big development for the backcourt come March.
And Evan Nelson can. And we saw that tonight.
I mean, absolute dagger from Evan Nelson.
From 4-point range, Kevin.
Yeah. In the All-Star game, that's going for 4 points. But I do think, like, you're seeing Tommy Lloyd become incredibly comfortable with Brayden Burries running the whole show. I think earlier on in the year, right, he was kind of given the keys, but it was like those driver's ed cars where he's driving, but at any moment, Tommy Lloyd or Jaden Bradley could take control and help him guide the car back to where it needs to be on the road. He's just got the Honda Civic himself. He's got the keys. He's good. You trust him to drive his friends around and not crash the car and be home by 6 and the whole thing. He don't got a curfew no more. It's his car. He can drive it, right? Like, and if Bradley wants to drive it,
it's your house now.
Yeah, and if JB wants to drive it, he can drive it. They share that car at this point. But I do think he's added that to his bag. He's become so much more poised as a guard. Like, I would say a lead guard. I don't want to call him like a point guard because he's not quite that. But he's added a lot of that lead guard attitude to his game, and I think it is no doubt influenced by the presence of one Jaden Bradley helping him develop throughout the game. What do you got?
I got Evan Nelson getting the sticker from the team tonight after hitting that 3 and just aura smacking it on the board. I mean, unbelievable.
We got to turn it into a short. That's true, though. But I will say this much, like, Brayden Burries, I know we've exhausted all the adjectives and stuff, but he continues to show he is a elite transition basketball player. Like, we talk about how in order to make the NBA, what do you got to have? At least one elite talent or be really good at everything. Brayden Burries is really good at a ton of stuff, and he's an elite transition basketball player. The feel he has, what I love today, there was a transition bucket that I posted in my Twitter of Brayden Burries where it's not the craziest thing you've ever seen. He takes the ball up the left side of the court, does a little move, lays it in. But when you watch it back, he's really controlling his speed and tempo to mess with the defender, and that's some like pro level stuff. To know when to slow down, know when to speed up, know when you have advantages momentum-wise, when your defender's weight is leaning this way, when to go that back the other way. He's getting so good at that, and I think he has been immense, as the soccer fans like to say, for this team.
It's unbelievable.
He has been unbelievable this season. Brayden Burries, special talents, truly special. But yeah, no, he really is that guy. Like, Brayden Burries, beginning of the year, I know people, don't like when we go back all the way to the beginning of the year, whatever. He was struggling. And we're not going to, wax poetic about that. But I do think for him to grow from that player to this player, to Eric Ruby's point of him saying, like, I mean, why wouldn't you take a flyer on this guy in the top 8 of the draft? What has he shown for you to not do that? He's so physical. He's so strong. He's so fast. Brayden Burries, king of the court. Unbelievable tonight. 3DMK brought it up in the chat earlier. that Burries, he had that takeover mode where he scored, I think, 7 straight for Arizona on his own, stealing the ball, laying it in, hitting a 3, hitting some free throws. He was incredible.
I'm smacking the recliners out in the viewing area, going nuts.
Yeah. No, he's
saying
nuts.
words that I can't say on this post-game show. I mean, yeah, it's as I've said before plenty of times, it's a spiritual experience watching Brayden Burries play basketball, but also, a little bit of JB as well. Smoove. I mean, come on now.
Player of the year, Smoove.
Absolutely. Kevin, is that where we're headed? You tweeted it during the game. Is this a player of the year Twitter war discourse collision course between Jaden Bradley and AJ Devonsta in the Big 12 championship game?
BYU's got to handle business. So does Arizona. But I mean, BYU's battle's a lot more uphill than I think Arizona is at this point because the team quality. But doesn't it feel like we're on a collision course right now? It feels like we're on a collision course. Like AJ Devonsta is like, if he looks unstoppable right now. I know he played Kansas State and West Virginia, so yeah, he had better look unstoppable. He's very good. But it feels like the momentum is like, oh my God, he's having a historic Big 12 tournament. What's that? By God, is that Jaden Bradley's music? Oh my goodness! Arizona stops the Devonsta show. Right? I think that is if in my heart, that's where I think we're going. They got to beat a bunch of teams to get there. We got to beat a couple really good teams to get there. So we'll see. I mean, it does feel like we're going that way.
That would be cinema, Kevin, but also that would be the most nervous I've been about a game since the 2025 Territorial Cup between Arizona State and Arizona.
That would have you so much on the line.
I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, like hyperventilating in the first half, and you're like, Damon, we're up 6 right now, and there's 3:23 to go in the half. Like, you got to chill out, buddy. And I'm like, Kevin, you don't get it. We need to beat this team or else I'm cooked on social media. So, yeah, that would mean everything. But also, BYU, I mean, you guys got to get there first.
Yeah.
So does the Arizona Wildcats, though. Arizona is a opening 4.5-point favorite against Iowa State tomorrow for a money line of somewhere around -180. And Iowa State's playing great basketball right now, Kevin. I mean, they absolutely put belt to ass on Bobby Hurley in Arizona State.
Not retired, but fired him.
Ending Bobby Hurley's 11-year storied emotional tenure at ASU. Impactful.
Historically relevant.
Spiritual, as I just said with Brayden Burries. I mean, it was special. It was special. And Iowa State obviously ended that and then had a great performance today after, being only up 3 at half against Texas Tech. Destroyed them in the second half. And they look really good right now. I'm sure that, getting 16-pieced by Arizona the last time out on the road in Tucson was something that they, remember. And I feel like Iowa State is going to bring it tomorrow. It's going to be a damn good game, Kevin. We're going to get into that matchup a little bit later on in the show here, but can you just, how are you feeling about that ISU matchup? Just, a little bit more of a general outlook on it.
I mean, I told you this earlier, Damon, or maybe I didn't. Maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was Noah. I don't know. I was talking to one of the producers earlier about how I low-key would rather face Texas Tech in that game. I feel like they're more of the wounded animal, and Arizona, you'd have that get-back factor, and, you know what I mean? You'd really want to put it to them. But Iowa State, they're playing incredible basketball. I still think that they are the Purdue of the Big 12 Conference, where they are that, I don't know how to really describe it, but the suburban AAU team that gets bussed out to the city, like Corey Williams says, and they're going up against a bunch of dudes that they've never seen before, and they're like, how do we stop these ballers? They're trying to do bounce passes and fundamental chest passes, and it's getting picked off and windmilled at the other end. That's how I feel about Iowa State and Purdue. I think that they have a much better chance at beating Arizona than a Purdue would, right? But, Purdue's pretty good too. But you get what I'm saying, right? I think Iowa State is the tougher team of those two, but I still think Arizona can get the job done. It's going to be interesting to see how Iowa State attacks Arizona for a second time. I'm more intrigued to see if Iowa State can even, hang with Arizona offensively, considering how good Arizona's defense is. Momciliovic was a non-factor in that last game, to my memory. I'll double check it. I don't want to speak incorrectly on Mommy's name, but I do think that Arizona's ability, Ivan Karchenkov's ability to remove him from the game will be huge. He was 2 for 8 in 33 minutes, 1 for 5 from 3 with 5 points against Arizona. Like, if he's not hitting a bunch of threes, Iowa State respectfully cannot hang with the Arizona Wildcats. So I think it should be a great first half. It should be a great first half, Damon, and we'll see how it goes for that last 20 minutes, genuinely.
All right, well, let's get more into that matchup on the other side of our final break here on the AZ Wildcats post-game show. Appreciate everybody for being here. Please drop a like on this video. Love having you guys here in the chat. Definitely, makes this thing a lot more fun when we can, kind of bounce ideas off of you guys. Thank you so much. We were in the Discord all day today, Kevin, and sending some memes, having some fun in there. So become a diehard today. Get involved and get access to that Discord to chat it up with me and Kevin during the games as we hang out from now until the end of this college basketball season. But we'll be right back on the AZ Wildcats postgame show. Do not go anywhere. Drop a like, drink your water, and subscribe to the channel.
A wholesome message from Damon Dog, and now I have a wholesome message for you. If you are trying to watch this upcoming month of incredible basketball, there is really only one way to do it, especially if you don't already have a streaming service that you utilize, and you maybe you don't want like a huge long contract, but you just want to watch your Arizona team play some basketball. Sling TV is one of the most flexible ways you can watch TV. With the college basketball tournament coming up, Sling TV gives you access to the games and more control over how and where you tune in. Now check this out, Damon. Sling has flexible 1, 3, or 7-day pass options. So if you just want to watch a specific round of an upcoming tournament, Sling is the place for you. You can get a 7-day pass, watch all the games, enjoy, and then maybe if you want to stick around with Sling, then that's up to you, but I'm sure you will love your time with Sling TV. Sling is celebrating the chaos that everyone loves around the tournament, and they are making it more fun to root for everybody this year. And they're even doing like an underdog challenge, right? So if you purchase any Sling pass in a 12 through 16 seed, makes it to round 16 of either the men's or women's tournament, the round of 16, I should say, then your next day pass is just $1. Unbelievable deal.
Special.
Live TV your way. Learn more about sling.com/underdog. No purchase required. To learn more and see the full rules, visit sling.com/underdog.
I'll give people a little bit of a pointer as we get into this NCAA tournament. Pick whatever 11 seed BYU is going to be playing against in the first round. I'm loving their chances to get you a free little one-day pass the next day for the NCAA tournament. Going to be so much fun. And also, it's going to be way more fun with our friends over at Pure Edibles. Could you imagine, Kevin?
Oof.
Let me take you into my world for a second. You're sitting on the couch. It's 9 a.m. The first NCAA tournament game has just kicked off. And what's that? You popped 2 very nicely outlined 10 milligram edibles that they tell you exactly how much is in each, one that you can split off, making it nice and easy to decide exactly the right dose that you want to use. And you just get to sit back, enjoy the game, feel those effects, whether you want something uplifting, you want to feel a little bit more creative. Maybe you just want to chill out a little bit. You want one of those indicas. Like, hit up our friends at Pure Edibles. They got something for everybody. You can see on screen here, we're promoting that Berry Sleepy. I know some people have problems sleeping. This is the perfect product for you to help get you some extra rest. Pure Edibles is an Arizona company that is trying to make your life just that much better, guys. Enhance your life with our friends at Pure Edibles, a company out of Flagstaff, Arizona that now calls Phoenix home, and that is available at over 130 dispensaries statewide. So go find one of those dispensaries that serves Pure Edibles products. Like I said, it's over 130 of them, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. We love our friends at Pure Edibles.
We do love our friends at Pure Edibles, and we love everybody here in this chat. Tell a friend to join into the post game and leave a like. And if you have not done so yourself, what are you doing? You see the score bug above my head. The Arizona Wildcats did their part. Damon and I are here talking about the game. We're doing our part. You do your part. Like this video, chat. We want to get to what, Damon? 60 likes before we get out of here today? We're at 35 right now. We got about 100 people in here.
Yeah, we had 50 on the last post-game show. I think 60 is apt, Kevin. I mean, listen, we're talking postseason play now. This is March Madness. This is not, this is not the happy-go-lucky regular season where nothing matters anymore. Now we're facing elimination. It's time to run it up. It's time to act like it's the postseason here. Let's get 60 likes.
Let's get 60 likes, and let's keep talking about this game against UCF before we preview the Iowa State game, because I did have some more thoughts on this one, Damon. To wrap up the Brayden Burries conversation, I think I did have one more thing I wanted to talk to you about with Brayden Burries. Just how good has he become defensively? His ability specifically as a help defender, I will admit I've not been watching too closely his on-ball stuff to see like how I feel about his on-ball defense recently, but off the ball, his help IQ has been nuts. I think back to that, obviously the loudest play that this involves is his huge block of what, $2 million, $3 million Rob Wright with the game on the line to seal it in Provo, right? Like, unbelievable help defense IQ there. Today, right, he helps start that 7-0 run that he did on his own with an interception where he leaps into the passing lane, one hand catches it, already got the dribble. I think it was a Themis Folks pass that he intercepted. Like, his help defense has been nuts. And I think that if we're going to, as Arizona, continue to make a run in the tournament, like if you have two guards that can lock it down on that end for 40 minutes, it's getting increasingly more difficult to defeat Arizona.
To me, Kevin, and I, this is just maybe my football brain speaking here, but like Jaden Bradley is more of like the cornerback. Like he's glued to you, right? One-on-one. Brayden Burries is the free safety. Brayden Burries is Ed Reed just waiting on you to throw that pass, waiting on you to pick off that, that errant pass that you make. And it feels like he, as you say, off ball is just like he's prone to intercept anything that kind of comes his way, right? And he's top 5 in steals in the entire Big 12. Like, the guy was not known as a defender. I don't think that is necessarily his calling card either. Like when you're talking about what are Brayden Burries' elite skill sets, but man, if he isn't really good at forcing turnovers in particular, I think that's a great quality to have in a guard because let's face it, the guy has the ball in his hands a lot. He's going to turn the ball over, and I think he's limited those turnovers in a big way. It's been incredibly impressive to watch. Like tonight, he had, for example, he had 0 turnovers. So it's like, when he has 0 turnovers and conversely he's, nabbing you 2 steals, that's a plus turnover differential from your shooting guard there. And it feels like Brayden Burries, he consistently gives you those positive outputs when it comes to holding onto the basketball and forcing opponent turnovers in their own right. So, Brayden Burries is stealing on defense in particular, continues to impress me.
And we've said it before, we'll say it again, just so it's on the record. Like, and he continues to be a plus rebounder at the very least.
Oh yeah.
Like he grabs 3 today, but it's in a day where like Krivas has 7 offensive rebounds, Awaka's got 12 rebounds, Jaden Bradley's grabbing 5. Like you talk about it when I challenge Koa Peat to rebound more. You're like, Kevin, there's only but so many rebounds to go around. What do you want from the poor fella? I do think Brayden Burries, like even in short burst of rebounding where he's not expected to crash all the time, he makes an impactful effort on the board. So yeah, shout out to Brayden Burries one more time. King of the court, Brayden Burries, 21 points, 3 rebounds, 2 steals,
king
and
of
a
my
whole
heart.
bunch of aura. And yes, the king of Damon's heart as well. Moving on, Damon, you wanted to talk a little bit of Iowa State, but before we do that, let's do our by the numbers for this game. Our by the numbers: Arizona defeats UCF 81-59, outshooting them 48% to 37%. And the rebounding discrepancy, 44-36. The 3-point margin, 38% for Arizona to just a putrid 14% from UCF. Now, shout out to Rocky in the chat because we were talking about that number specifically on our pregame show, and I think we both were right. Rocky, because I was saying you got to take away the mid-range to force them to shoot threes because Arizona's going to bank that they're not going to make enough of them. And they were saying, well, you should give them the mid-range because the one thing they can do is shoot threes. But I think we were both right. Arizona just took them both away. Arizona said, you're not going to shoot mid-range and you're not going to shoot threes. And if you do shoot threes, hand right there. So, yeah, I think that Arizona did a great job of forcing them to make threes and saying, hey, we're going to contest the hell out of everything that you put up. Like you saw Del Orso, man, his ability, I want to give a shout out to him because his ability to close out on shooters in this game, I'm not going to say it was like huge. I'm not going to say it was the deciding factor. But when you get the minutes that he gets, you got to make it count. Anthony Del Orso tonight, Where's his minutes at, man? 17 minutes. He shoots 1 for 6 from 3, 3 rebounds, a block, no turnovers, a foul. Like, I think despite him shooting 2 for 8, his defense was pretty strong today. The block that he did get, but also a couple extra contests that he made, definitely deserved a shout out. So yeah, the defense was tough tonight. Wrapping up by the numbers, 38 points in the paint to 28, 18 points off turnovers to 9. UCF, man, tough to get some buckets against this Arizona team.
Tough sledding, man, and tough sledding for one Riley Kugel in particular, Kevin, who had himself a disaster class against Arizona in this college basketball season. He did, full stop. The guy was absolutely awful in the 2 games against Arizona, in which UCF kind of played like 2, I want to say, like respectable games. I know this one was a wire-to-wire finish, but it never really felt like UCF, especially in the second half, was out of it. It felt like they were kind of pressing Arizona a little bit and forcing the issue, forcing Arizona to make some mistakes. But when you look at Riley Kugel against Arizona this year, he went 5 of 18 in the first game. He was also acting like a complete just asshat, I remember, in that game, like trying to fight people and complaining constantly. In this game, 14 minutes, 4 personal fouls, 6 points, 2 of 7 shooting. I mean, it's not good enough when, you're playing against a team like Arizona, when your shot creators need to have efficient basketball games in order for you to win that game. Because as we mentioned, like, it's going to take a kind of a combination of Fulks, Stillwell, and Kugel, and you didn't get what you needed out of Stillwell and Kugel in particular from a UCF standpoint. But I also want to shout out our guy, Rocky Rodri, who comes in here and very humbly and graciously, defers to Kevin and says, I was wrong, Kevin, you were right. But I also want to say that Rocky Rodri was somebody that said, that expecting a big Ivan Karchenkov offensive outing, and maybe while it didn't end up being, a huge number at the end of the day, Ivan scores 10 points. He goes 4 of 4 from the field. He scores in a few different ways, including his first bucket, kind of that dribble into a guy, mid-range pull away that you're like, oh my God, hide that clip from NBA scouts immediately. We can't have them seeing this. And yeah, he could have definitely shot the ball more, but I thought Ivan Karchenkov looked really good on the offensive side. And then, of course, he always looks great defensively. So, yeah, solid stuff from Ivan Karchenkov in this game. And I think Jay Bilas at one point even was like, Ivan Karchenkov is one of the best defenders in college basketball, not just the Big 12. And you're sitting there and you're like, so why exactly was he left off of the all-defensive team? Because I'm sitting here in complete and utter shock as to how that possibly could have happened.
Jay Bilas stinks, first of all. He stinks. Took every opportunity today to be like, well, if this Arizona team is going to make a run, they can't do this. Or, well, what about this Houston team in the big? Well, what about Duke? Can we talk about Duke? We're on ESPN, right? We can talk about Duke in the middle of any game. That's a law, right? It's a rule. We have to talk about Duke or Michigan at least 2 to 3 times if they're not competing. Disaster class.
Just give us today. Fran and Shambi, man.
Dude, I love Fran, and I would love to have Fran on the pod because I think he knows ball. I know he knows ball, and he has great takes about the Big 12 specifically. He did frustrate me the last game he called. I think I talked to you about this.
Yeah, you said it earlier.
That West Virginia BYU game, I know there wasn't too much going on outside of AJ DeBonsa to talk about in that game, so he's in a tough spot. But he was obsessed with trying to get Obi-Oha to the Kansas City Chiefs. The West Virginia center, he was just like, and this Obi-Oha, he might be getting a call from Andy Reid because he looks the way he laterally, he might not have a future in the NBA. But
and Andy Reid was in the crowd, right, wearing BYU gear.
Literally, I counted 4 times we had that conversation on air of like, you sure he couldn't make it? It's like, yes, I'm sure he couldn't make it in the NBA or NFL. Both, actually. Fran, respectfully, come on. I know you're trying to fill time, but talk about your Danish you had for breakfast or something rather than that.
You say that, but it's funny. Like, we asked Tobe Waka at Big 12 Media Day, like, do you think maybe you could put your hand in the dirt and become, a 3-tech defensive end for Brent Brennan's squad? And he said that Brent Brennan literally asked him that. Dude, what are you doing? You ever thought about being a pass rusher at Arizona football?
It was funny. It was funny the first 1.5 times he did it. But after 20 minutes pass and he brings it back around, and I'm like, dude, come on. I know they're dubbing him and I know they're drubbing him, but Let's not do that. Either way,
that's better than
give us back
Arizona
Fran.
has a real shot at the number 1 overall 1 seed if Michigan and Duke both lose, because these guys are incredible and the 2 best teams, full stop. No one could even debate it. And you're like, wait, what?
Yes, that is literally the first time I've ever complained about Fran Fraschilla, so I would much rather have Fran than anybody else call the games.
No doubt. Like, Bilas is just like, I feel like, he's really not that bad, but for some reason there's something about his connection to Arizona that just it's frustrating, right? Like, you see the quotes about like things he said about Sean Miller in the past. I have that one quote, Kevin, that we showed on the show not that long ago. And let me see if I can grab this here. Yeah. This is a career-ending thing for Sean Miller. Career-ending. I can't imagine him ever coaching in college again. And then like 3 years later, he's like, what a hire by Texas getting Sean Miller. And you're like, how are these things both things that you have said out loud? And you've yet to apologize to, Arizona, the fan base and whatnot, for the things that you've said in the past. Like, I think that it's just kind of a weird kind of spurned relationship to start. So we're more on edge for things that he says, but man, can he be annoying at certain times, especially when Duke comes up.
Certainly.
It's like, oh my God.
Certainly.
Brother.
And I have one more thing on Riley Kugel, because I think before we get out of here, we should probably talk Big 12 court, because that's a huge talking point right now. Iowa State, and then we can get out of here. But I do want to say one thing about Riley Kugel. People in the chat might not like him. He might not be your favorite player. We can all unite with Riley about one thing. That guy hates Tony Padilla. Hates Tony Padilla. If you want to see why, go check my Twitter. I put out a video where Tony Padilla makes a foul call, and you see, I'm not going to say it on air, but Riley Kugel goes, what the is he talking about, man? You can read it on his lips. And I feel like that's just everybody watching Tony Padilla referee a basketball game. We're going, what is that call? What is he seeing? What? I wasn't even the same. You're going to, like, Kugel's over here like, oh yeah, jump ball, right? And Tony goes, foul, him. And he's like, what? Can we talk about this? Oh, okay. No, you're going to walk away? Okay, fine. Cool. Rough day for Riley Kugel.
We also got to talk about the jump balls, though. Dude, insane how they're calling jump balls these days in college basketball. And not great for how we like to play basketball, I don't think, because we play so much high-low and like love to throw it in deep to the bigs. And immediately I think teams, when they send a double, like the second guy who's making his way over is probably taught, hey, swipe for the basketball, try to grab onto it, because they're calling jump balls in like 0.2 seconds. And it's like, it's just wild. It feels like it's just so quick. Like, every time someone even touches a ball, they're like, jump ball. And you're like, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. But as Lost Highway says, I did think that UCF did get a bit of a rough whistle as well at certain times. But that's what Arizona does to you, right? They force the issue. They force refs to blow their whistle and make calls, because the game is just so physical every single possession. And with the depth on this team, it allows Arizona to be physical. It allows for guys like Tobe and Koa and Mo to take some time off and rest and get rejuvenated, get their energy back, and then get right back out there and just driving with a full head of steam and forcing free throw attempts. So, yeah, I mean, I think that that's almost the name of the game when you play Arizona. I love when other opposing fan bases are like, they shot 30 free throws. And you're like, yep, welcome to Arizona basketball in the year of our Lord, 2025, 2026. I mean, that's
year of our Lloyd.
That's what Tommy Lloyd does. Yeah, the year of our Lloyd. So, yeah, I did agree with that, but I do think that, in general, that's just kind of the way that Arizona basketball is meant to play.
Can we talk about this court, Damon? I know you don't actually care about the court, but now that our team that we support is playing on this slippery slip and slide of a court, do you have any thoughts? Do you care at all? People on social media were pretty upset, and they were like, honestly, I don't want them to play on this court again.
I don't know. That's like a kind of like I'm trying to think of the word for it. Like there's a specific like fallacy or something that it's called, like where you're attributing something to something without evidence that it is that thing that is actually causing it. You know what I mean? Where it's like he got hurt because of the court, and you're like, well, we don't necessarily know that to be true. He could have gotten hurt on any court in that situation. All in all, like, I think I've become like so anti-court throughout all of this.
You have.
Because of how much, I'm sorry, not how much, how little I actually care about any of it.
You've been radicalized against basketball courts.
Like now I hate the glass interactive court because I just want to stop freaking talking about it. I care about basketball. You know what?
Yes.
Like I kind of see why this hasn't, I've said before in the past, like why has this not been a thing earlier? Like it seems like the technology has caught up late here. Now I know why. Because wood courts don't make me talk about basketball courts every freaking podcast. So go back to wood courts, just a nice classic, just wood grain, something that we never needed to move away from. What was the downside of a wood basketball court? I'm still waiting on it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I was excited about the possibilities of it. I think we've seen like players complain about the slipperiness and the warmth of it. Now that our team is playing on it and we've seen some players in this game slip and slide, I'm like, I'm good on this court, honestly. Now that we've won the game and statistically we're still in good standing to win the national title, I'm good on Arizona playing on the slip and slide court. It was cool when other Big 12 teams were doing it. But as soon as I saw Christian Anderson slip, like literally do the splits today on like a basic baseline inbounds and maybe pull, I haven't checked an update, but like maybe pulled or something worse to his groin. I don't want any parts of that for this Arizona basketball team. You asked the chat, you asked me what would be success for this team in the Big 12 tournament, and I took it as like an on-the-court question, so I answered that way. But the chat said, just stay healthy, man, and that is the truth. Like, if you stay healthy through the Big 12 tournament, you won the Big 12 tournament in my eyes. You know what I mean? Like, if you get to March healthy, you won the Big 12 tournament. So if they never play on this court again, I will sleep happily at night. Because I'm not going to lie, as much as of a fan have I been of new courts, this one, watching the game, made me kind of nervous. Like, I was watching it like, don't slip. Please do not slip. Nobody slip. I saw Delhi slip one time, about had a heart attack. Oh, my days. So, yeah, the court looks cool when Diamande for BYU dunks and the thing goes crash. Other than that, it can be kept. It can be kept in what the attempted things to expand the game. One last thing before we get out of here, Damon. Iowa State. I kind of gave some of my initial takes on it. Did you have anything you wanted to get off about Iowa State before they play tomorrow?
I've talked a bit about Iowa State, and I do think that, we saw this play out in matchup 1 against them, where Arizona just seems like, with what we keep talking about, like, I'm sure it gets a little bit redundant, but like the interior paint presence team that Arizona is, I just look at Iowa State and I say, who is matching that? Who on that team is physical enough, has enough of a paint presence to provide any sort of pushback to Arizona in that regard? And so I think Iowa State needs to have one of their best, 3-point shooting games of the entire season to win. And they're obviously a team that is significantly better at home versus on the road. Here's another thing. Advantage Iowa State, because their fan base travels to Kansas City year after year after year. It's known as a stomping ground for Iowa State and Kansas fans specifically. And so, and that's not shocking to anybody, because those are probably the 2 best basketball fan bases in this conference, with Arizona maybe sitting at that number 3 spot, I think, from what majority of people have been saying throughout the year and the 2 years that we've been in this conference now. Iowa State fans are going to bring it. It is like a pseudo home game for them. So does the shooting come with that? Because I think they need to shoot like 40+% on very, very high volume from a 3-point shooting perspective. Because just when I look at their roster, I'm like, no way those guys are going to be able to score inside on Arizona and hang in this game with the way that Arizona likes to play.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I do think, I believe Tamin Lipsey had a hell of a game today, so maybe he plays better next time out against Arizona. But
he played pretty good against Arizona last time out, I thought. It was really,
I guess I just meant, not hopefully, but maybe he continues this.
It was Jefferson that was horrible against Arizona last time out. And I think someone put up here, he scored 12, but
he played really well today.
The game was much worse than him scoring 12 in that game, mind you. I think he hit like 8 free throws in that game. So, he had a really, really rough performance from a shooting perspective. And if you get one of those, like, on the kind of the 3-headed snake, I think, of Iowa State, from a Momciliovic, Jefferson, Lipsey perspective, one of those guys to have an off night, I think it's going to be really difficult for a Cyclones team to overcome the depth that Arizona has.
Yeah, I genuinely feel like you need like a lot from the combination of Jefferson and Momciliovic against Arizona if you're Iowa State, and I'm not sure that you can get it against this Arizona team. Like, I think I haven't watched every Joshua Jefferson game, but I am pretty high on his skill set. But I do think against a team like Arizona, it's uniquely suited to kind of neutralize him the way that they did last time out, where, okay, we're not going to let you make all these over-the-head cross-court passes like Ivan Karchenkov's going to pick that off. Okay, we're not going to let you make these little slick dump-offs into the paint because Krivas is there stuffing up the paint. Okay, we're not going to let you, like, Joshua Jefferson's game is so versatile, but also it kind of, you need some sort of defensive weakness to exploit, and Arizona does not have that. And so the back down game is not going to be there for him. The facilitation, he will be able to facilitate a little bit. We've seen it against Houston. He facilitated very well, but like, I just don't see it for Iowa State beating Arizona. That's why I was initially like, I don't want to see Texas Tech, because I feel like they have a more dog in them than Iowa State does. And then Christian Anderson goes out, and then I realize, well, Iowa State, the whole thing. Either way, I don't think they're going to have enough, Damon, to beat Arizona if Arizona comes out with that same level of intensity that they started this game against UCF with.
Yeah. I honestly, like, when I look at a team like Iowa State, I think what a nightmare for another opponent to have to face in the NCAA tournament. Yeah. Like, if that team is your 3 seed potentially, like, right? Like, I mean, that's a possibility, right? Like, they could be a 3 seed. I think that's kind of a disaster, right? Like, that's a team that shoots the lights out, has a top 10-ish defense in the country, has stars with, a ton of experience. I just kind of think that Arizona, like, matches up against them really, really well. So that's why I like the Cats, and I feel pretty confident in them tomorrow in that semifinal game of the Big 12 tournament. But wouldn't shock me if Iowa State goes out there and has a lights out shooting performance in front of a crowd that probably is backing them, and makes things very interesting as well. So we'll see in tomorrow's matchup. Kevin and I are, of course, going to be bringing you pregame and postgame coverage for now until the end of the season. So that lasts from the Iowa State game, Big 12 championship, as we get into the NCAA tournament as well. Pregame, postgame coverage for every single game on this very same channel. And we'll be pregame live tomorrow at what, 3:30?
I think so. Let me double check that. I think so. But I also wanted to give a shout out. We're doing a watch along for the Big 12 championship game if Arizona were to make it there. So I expect all 94 of you to be there. When Arizona makes a championship game in our watch along. So tap in for that. It's going to be a big deal. Me and Damon watching it with all you folks whom we love so much. So tap in with us for that as well. And I'm going to pull up this game. It says tomorrow at 4 p.m., Damon. Yeah. So 3:30 for the pregame.
3:30 pregame tomorrow right here on PHNX Sports. And, of course, postgame about 10 minutes after that final buzzer sounds with your boys Damon and Kevin and the whole crew here at PHNX Sports. Cannot wait for it. Maybe we'll see what our guy Saul Bookman is doing tomorrow, and if maybe he can spare a few minutes of his time to talk about his Wildcats. But
please, Saul. Please spare some ball knowledge, Saul.
Absolutely.
Any more crumbs of information, Saul? Thank you, please.
That's every time that Saul Bookman graces us with his presence on this podcast. And of course, I appreciate you, my guy Kevin Thomas, for keeping it real as always on this postgame show. And it's been a banner day of coverage here on PHNX Sports. Crazy week in general.
Wild.
Just news dropping left and right.
Kyler just signed to the Vikings.
Kyler's a Viking?
Like 10 minutes ago.
9 is cooked?
Yeah.
Dude, why did you do that to me live on air?
Sorry, I was going to tease. I was going to say everybody in this stream should tap in with our Cardinals podcast in half an hour or so, because they're probably going to be talking about this Kyler stuff on that podcast a lot. So make sure to check them out. But yeah, Kyler to the Vikings. We knew that was happening.
Now who's going to gritty into the end zone?
Kyler Murray. One's going to gritty into the end zone. Either way, let's talk a little bit more Arizona basketball on our pregame, postgame shows tomorrow. You can follow him at Damon Dog, dropping a ton of good content on his Twitter. You can follow me
going to war
at Kevo Post. I'm also doing stuff on that social media app of Twitter as well.
Can I say that real quick just before we get out of here?
Yeah, do it.
Smoove.
Oh, yes. Actually,
brother.
You know what, Damon? Let me prepare the one shot for you, brother, because I think that you need to really send a message in this here segment, because you did put out that tweet, Damon, that was truly, truly wonderful. So have the floor, my friend.
Smoove, my brother. JB Smoove. Smoove. I'm going to war for you. I'm putting my legacy on the line at Damon Dog against BYU Nation, Jon Snow style, like only I know how. And you go out there and you put up that performance tonight, brother. It just needs to be better. It's not looking great. Like, I'm not saying that he was like absolutely terrible, but like 0 points against Colorado followed up by this one tonight. Like, you're just not exactly giving us a whole lot of legs and room to stand on here in this absolute war path that I've been set on. So please, please, please show up for the final 2 games of the Big 12 tournament. And God willing, if it is against BYU in the championship, I need a 30-piece, brother, more than I need oxygen to breathe. Smoove, please. That's all I got.
That was absolute Karchenkov. You can follow him at Damon Dog. Let's get out of here, Damon. Let's let these Cardinals boys talk about Kyler to the Vikings or something.
Nine's career is over, and Johnny and Bo are going to be talking about it right here on PHNX Sports. If you're a Cardinals fan, stick around. But appreciate everybody for being here. We love you guys. We appreciate the chat so much. Over 100 in here live. Almost at 50, right? We're not going to quite get 60.
Who's going to be the 50th like?
Please, someone like it for 50 likes before we get out of here. Because we have to hit 50 or else Kevin will not sleep at night. Nope. as
we got a lot of work to
gone over. So thank you so much to the people who watched this one. We'll be back live tomorrow at 3:30 for pregame. And in the meantime, follow both of us on social media. Until then, peace out. Bear down. We got 50 likes. And
go Cats. You stole my outro, but we did get 50 likes. Burr, 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 burr.
We all silly like the mayor.